Yeah, more or less, yes. You know that you have to keep to the side and all that. Yeah.
Um, Not much, but I know that in terms of gear wise, I think you have to be wearing your helmet, and if you are cycling at night, probably you need to have certain like flashlight, light, torchlight and everything lah. Yeah, I think that's the basic rule lah, Yeah, and of course you have to use the bicycle lane. That is a must for most cyclists lah. I think we have to be very mindful of the surrounding areas as well lah. Who are they interact with lah?
Not really, because I actually just started off back today again. Yeah, I was like kind of pretty rusty since like 7-8 years ago.
No, what about it?
Like, do you know there's things like a speed limit or like that you have to keep to the left and things like that?
Oh, I don't really cycle on the roads actually. So I usually cycle with just park connectors. So I haven't really read up about those.
Hi, I'm Steven Lim. I'm the VP for Safety Education, Singapore Cycling Federation. Mainly, it's like for road cycling, cyclists are to abide by all traffic rules, including stopping at red lights. Then the recent one is that riding on the road, cyclists need to don a helmet. For road cycling, I think that's more or less about that. And then if you are riding on the footpaths, the shared path or cycling path, right, there is a set of Active Mobility Act which is governing this. Okay, so you need to look out for the speed limit, such as 10 km per hour for footpath, 25 km per hour for shared path or cycling path, right? But always give way to pedestrians, right? And then no using of phone or gadgets, no using of headphones, right? So there are actually some rules, but not that many, right? So it's quite, in a way, quite straightforward and quite easy to actually memorize them or know them.
I personally, I don't think it's safe. That's why I'm cycling on the park connector, because there's being a small country, we have a lot of heavy vehicle, especially even in roads like Changi Coastal Road, and even in Lim Chu Kang, where you have a lot of industrial area. There's a lot of heavy vehicles, and being on the bicycle, it's me, a driver myself. I think if I drive a heavy vehicle, I won't be able to see the cyclist at a certain angle.
It was a year ago, it was quite safe. After the starting of the COVID-19, I think everyone started to rush into this craze of cycling craze, and then they start populated the lanes and everything. And most of the newbies actually are not mindful of the laws, what to do when they are on the lane itself, and interact with the pedestrian and the rest. I think my main concern is always the PMDs as well.
Actually, I don't find it safe. Actually, I came all the way through park connectors in the morning from Punggol also same. Yeah. I stayed around the area whereby that was where that 20 bikes that actually hog the road lah. So in my own opinion, I would say probably, yeah, I would probably want to keep more to the left lah.
I think there are a few areas here. So number one, there are people, not just cyclists, but also the public, think that cyclists are not allowed on the highway. Okay, but in Singapore context, highway and expressway is different. So Nickel Highway, West Coast Highway, they are not expressway. So cycling is allowed on such roads. Okay, just that the cyclists, of course, as we mentioned earlier, have to follow all the traffic rules, right? Expressway are like, you look at the names, right? BKE, KJE, ECP, all these are expressway, and those roads are what roads that are prohibited for cycling, right? So, because we still have public asking how come this cyclist is riding on Nickel Highway, right? So these are misconceptions, and then there are some recent cases where we see cycling riding on expressway, whether it's deliberately or unknowingly that they actually entered the expressway, but that is actually very, very dangerous, right? So whatever you do, never enter the expressway.
Firstly, to ban cycling, I think that is not fair lah for everybody, because being a small country, what else can we do? Cycling, trekking, nothing much, for recreational. To go for a compulsory, just like driving, to go for lessons, I think that's possible. It's also good to create awareness, and like you said, is like you asked me earlier, do I know there's a speed limit, which I don't know. So all these rules can be passed through these lessons lah.
I think all the three options that you just stated, I would disagree lah. I think the most important one would be education. I think you should have those. Maybe the National Parks could have some sort of a workshop for newbies in terms of educate them how to interact with, how to use the roads and how to cycle properly, and even use signals, even your hand signal as well. I think that's very important. Yeah.
I think honestly not very feasible, because how are you going to police every single cyclist out there? I think that's not very possible lah. I think that's number one. And number two, I think cycling in itself is not a very dangerous thing. Like if you talk about e-bikes, yes, right, because it's quite fast. But cycling itself, you use a lot of leg work, which I don't believe you can go to 0 to 100 in 5 seconds, kind of thing. Yeah.
It's now very easy. So just go onto your computer, search for Road Traffic Act Singapore. You will be able to find the whole set of the Road Traffic Act, and then search for bicycle rules, right? Or you search for Active Mobility Act, right? So these are the only two key acts which govern cycling in Singapore, right? Whether it's on the road or on the paths, right? So it's not that difficult. So just go and find out, which is very important. I urge all cyclists, before you hit the road, please find out about the rules. At this moment, we are not talking about it. We have no intention of going towards that direction, right? Of licensing cyclists. I do not know of any part of the world that actually license cyclists. It's a bit tricky. I know where people are coming from when they say licensed cyclists. But the thing is that we need to understand the whole picture about why do we want to license. Okay? When they talk about licensing cyclists, it's because they see perhaps some black sheep, they have some reckless riding behavior, that kind of thing. So they say they should be licensed, right? But let's put it this way. Drivers on the road are all licensed. They went to the school, theory, practical, test, they got their license, right? But many a time we are still seeing drivers breaking the rules, right? Doing some very reckless, very dangerous stunts on the road. So is licensing the only solution? Or is it even a solution, right? So I think we need to look at the part before we start jumping on to say, hey, we need to license cyclists. Delivery companies actually LTA works with the delivery companies, so they have offered the safe riding program to the delivery companies, having their staff to actually attend the safe riding program, right? That was especially true for the PMD riders back then, right? So the program is still on, right? So delivery companies are actually offered the opportunity to get their staff to actually learn about safe riding. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if this guy is a delivery rider, sports cyclist, a commuter, right? I think any one of us, as long as we go out there, we ride a bicycle, we should know the rules, we should practice safe riding, we should take care of our safety. Pedestrian, drivers, it's the same thing. So once we are out there, we first look after our own safety, right? We follow the rules, and then you realize that the effect actually will snowball. Right? So in return, everyone will be kept safe, right? Because of the responsible action of every single one out there. Okay, so it is that is important. So yeah, it doesn't matter if this guy is a delivery rider, so he should learn more. No, right? The only difference is that this delivery rider probably make more trips than any one of us. Okay, but it doesn't mean because he is a delivery rider, so he need to learn more. I think anyone who wants to go out there to use our public spaces, whether it's roads, path, PCNs, there's this responsibility that you need to abide by the rules, ride safely, properly, right? Know all the do's and don'ts. So in the end, you keep yourself safe, you keep other people safe.